Boom. What up, guys? Welcome back. This is Late Night Live, episode 19. We got the whole gang for you tonight. With me, as always, Ace of Jack's Media Grounds, Chris.
Hello.
Got a new hat.
Yep.
Pretty cool. How are you, my friend?
Good. It's been a fun and exciting week in games and work and everything else up above.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was on vacation this week, so I was just watching my kids all week and watching all the video game news. So should have some good discussion, I think. 8-bit gaming legend Dathan.
Hello, class.
Hello, Professor.
How you doing today?
Good. How's your wallet feeling after all the stuff I sent you?
I had to put it in the freezer. It was a little warm.
Yeah, pre-ordered some stuff.
Sure
Some
did.
goodies. Awesome. Travis, how are you, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah. Sorry I missed last week.
Oh, you're good. And the man, Eric.
Hello, friends.
How's it going?
Good.
I am caught up on X-Men.
Good.
So, and if who was in the chat that was taunting me last week, like that I didn't watch X-Men? Like, I am caught up. So, don't harass me.
But it was epic, right? The fight scene. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. But
so good.
We can talk about it real quick. Like, I thought last week's episode was even better.
Yeah.
Because it has Sentinels, which I really like. It doesn't have like the Sentinels that are in the humans or whatever.
The Primes.
I like the original, yeah. And then Wolverine, man, he came through.
Mm-hmm.
Some good stuff with Magneto. Magneto really came through.
Yeah.
And hopefully they tie it all in a nice little bow. There's only one episode left.
I have that, not to do too many spoilers, but I know I have that comic with the Magneto doing what he did. The holographic image in the comic. There's a Wolverine version and an X-Men version. I think I have both of them.
Saying Spirits, you're back. We missed you last week, my friend.
Oh yeah.
Chris is
Come
Jack
back.
the Ripper. Don't reveal his secret alter ego here.
Don't be a prostitute around him, I think is really.
But no, like one episode left of X-Men, man, I think they're going to nail it. I know some series have sometimes the ending goes limp and they don't wrap things up well. I think they're going to with this one. I have a good feeling. They've really done a good job of taking the best elements from the comic books that didn't make it into the original cartoon, and they've just cherry picked the really best ones, and they've done a really great job making this series. So bravo to the people that made it, and Disney Plus and whoever we need to thank, because it's been a great show to watch.
I can't think of, like, I can't hear of Jack the Ripper anymore without thinking of that Christopher Walken computer game Ripper. If you haven't seen it, find the YouTube videos and just watch it, because somebody went ahead and just threw them all up there. So you can watch that in all of its glory. It is the most awkward, strange thing.
Like 1996 CD-ROM
1996 CD-ROM game with Christopher Walken,
yeah.
who
That's cool.
At the time that I was playing it, I thought he must have been confused that he was like as to what any of this was. But then over the years, I find that's just the way he acts. That's just always how he acts.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's like you ever watch the Transformers Last Night?
Yes.
Anthony.
We know Dathan has.
Of course.
You know, Anthony Hopkins played like he was a completely different movie. Like
he just can't do it.
It seemed like he had no idea what movie he was in. He was great in the role he was in, but the movie itself, it's like you could put him in somewhere else, and I don't think it would have affected the movie at all.
Yeah, somebody went ahead and did us a favor, and I think they threw the entire, like, all the full motion video up on YouTube for it, so you can just watch the awkwardness that was one of the last attempts at making a full motion video CD-ROM game.
I watched David play that.
Think of.
My brother.
Oh,
I never
did
played
yeah,
it,
he
but I
had
watched
it.
Dave play it. Yeah.
He had it. Okay, yeah. So
Awesome.
bad. Yeah,
Don't fear the Reaper, man.
that was in there. That's
That's
right.
the song.
Yeah,
That's the.
I forgot
they
about
got
that.
the license for that.
Yeah.
And they didn't let you forget it. That song played like every
Right.
5
Well,
minutes.
you know, if you spend all your money on Christopher Walken when he's in a slump of acting, and then you
Right.
go for the guns on one song, you got to get the best out of it, right?
Yeah.
So good.
Do you guys want to talk about what you played last week? Any video games, Chris? I know you played King's Quest, right?
Yeah,
The
the
new one.
Yeah, I also went back to Dredge.
Oh, great.
And then I also am continuing on with Super Mario RPG on the Switch.
Nice.
I haven't finished that yet.
It's really good. Yeah.
Oh, and then there was the Little Kitty Big City that dropped on Game Pass yesterday. I gave that a try.
Okay.
So
Hey,
Okay.
Chris, I watched some of your King's Quest. Thanks for posting that. But I looked for your Harold Halibut. I didn't see it up there.
let me see.
Just FYI.
I don't know if I posted that one yet.
Okay, well, let me know.
He didn't actually play it.
Just watch the trailer like I did. Yeah, and then. Okay, so big news. You can probably guess. I beat Darkest Dungeon. Okay.
Wow.
Finally.
Yeah.
I think if I had the soundboard and do the little sound effect, maybe Chris has it. We could do the little applause.
Let me see. I
Good
think.
job, man.
Yeah, it was good. 135 hours.
Excellent.
And then I looked up playing that on like the hardest difficulty, and apparently if you go longer than, I don't know, like half that time, you just lose and it deletes your game.
Really?
So yeah, you lose immediately and your game gets deleted. You have to start over. It's like, okay.
No
brutal.
bueno.
So I'm not going to play on any harder of a difficulty. I'm done with that game. I'll probably move on to Dredge, so I'll be looking at Chris for tips on that one.
Let's see.
Dathan,
you
did
do
you play
that?
any games last week?
A little bit. I wrapped up a few things on Prince of Persia. I actually looked at my library that I had on my PlayStation account and kind of threw some games on that I hadn't played in a while. I think I played Stardust on the portable, and then I forgot I had Blood Dragon on there. I played it on Xbox and I tried to play it on PlayStation and I was like, oh man, I'm terrible at this. I'm not very good. So I stopped playing that. And I picked up Sea of Stars today.
Physical copy?
Physical copy, yep.
Great.
That's pretty much it. I'm kind of doing a whole bunch of stuff outside of gaming that I'm trying to wrap up this weekend. So I'm hoping the next weekend I can finally hit up some VR stuff. And I think Steam still has their May 4th sale going on.
On Star Wars?
Yeah, so I think they had we were talking about a couple weeks ago, the multiplayer Star Wars game where you're UN Squadron, is that what it is? I don't know.
Squadron, X-Wing Squadron,
or something.
Squadron?
It's only $2 on Steam.
This is it the one
Star
where
Wars
you're the
Yes.
Yeah. Get that.
There's a ton of games that are on there. I'll probably just bundle together and pick up because they're so cheap.
Are you playing in
How-
VR?
You can play in VR.
Yeah.
I think the multiplayer, from what I read on Reddit, some of the multiplayer servers it's hit or miss, but there's a group of people that play every Friday, I think at 6 Pacific or something like that. They set up lobbies and stuff and you can join in on play with them.
Cool.
But it's
if I
still
remember it.
good. Single player is still fun with it. I mean, there's something about, the 8-year-old me would have been in complete disbelief that you could sit down and pilot like an
At
X-wing or
home,
TIE
you
fighter
could do it at
at
home.
home. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean it looks good. It looks
Yeah.
good in VR. It looks really, really good.
I
Yeah,
really
and I
want to
think
play
they said the single player campaign I think was 8 to 10 hours, I think, which is pretty
Yeah.
solid. And
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
only
Hey, B.
$2, I'm not going to complain for $2.
it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Everyone, this is B Kong from Kongs R Us. Thank you for joining
Hello, sir.
tonight.
Hi. Oh,
Hello.
Super
Hi.
excited to have you. Right now, we're just talking about what video games we played last week.
Very nice. Full on panel. Nice to meet everybody. Pleasure.
Yeah,
Well, it's good to meet you too.
I think I guess we're all Oregonians. So, but I wore my Dodger hat for you. If you,
LA represent. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I love Oregon. Like I visited Portland once and went to Next Level. So you got some good stuff in Portland. I mean, amazing. Good stuff.
we need to go back up to Next Level soon.
Mm-hmm.
B, did you get to play any video games or arcade games or pinball last week that you want to?
Yeah, I mean, so
Shout
I
out
just
about?
got back from a local brewery called Hermosa Beach Brewing, and so they have 18 pinball machines there, and I've been addicted to playing Pulp Fiction. So I
Oh.
met the operator there for owning those pinball machines. He started up a league a couple months ago, so then I got to play, be competitive, and now he's the guy that he's buying a John Wick LE and a Pro, and he's like, I'm gonna get it next week, and I'm like, sweet, I don't have to ever buy a pinball machine again. I can just go to this local place,
Mm-hmm.
and I have somebody else that's gonna be able to have these out for enjoyment. So that I've been doing a lot of that. It's been
So
fun.
people are going to get the new machine next week?
Yeah, the pros are already shipping. The
Oh
pros
my
are shipping out to
Lord.
people.
I guarantee you
amazing.
next level probably has it this weekend.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if they already had it.
I need to go out there. Really quick, Travis, did
Yeah.
you play any games last week?
Yeah, still chomping through Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I actually started spending a lot of time in Pinball Effects. I run in tournaments in there.
Okay.
So
yeah.
It's
Excellent.
been I think that the next level trip got me to fire that game up sitting here, even though I'm not far
Mhm.
away from next level. So I think tomorrow I may take a drive out there and spend an hour at next level.
Yeah. Well, didn't they, Dathan? They have some new pinball game. Was it Labyrinth?
It was
or,
Labyrinth, I think. I don't
but
think
it didn't
was,
look like the normal Labyrinth. It looked like
no, it wasn't like was that David Bowie Labyrinth? I don't think
Okay.
it
Yeah.
wasn't that. It was something different. But
you don't have to look it up. It looked cool.
yeah, it wasn't
Not-
Stern. I think it was Jersey Jack. It kinda
Jersey
looked
Jack.
like-
Yeah.
I think that's who did it because it had the screen on the front like the other ones do.
Yeah.
I think that's who did it.
Yeah, I actually want to
Labyrinth is
spend
like a
more.
new company.
Is that right? I want to
It's
spend more time with with the Elvira one that I saw on my
Yeah.
way out. And I think that's a Stern one, but looks to me like it took some cues from what Jersey Jack's been doing.
They have the blood red kiss edition there when I went, which was like a black and red edition.
I think that's their
Mhm.
limited edition.
Yeah, it's another limited edition version. The people that did Labyrinth was Barrels of Fun Pinball, but unless
Oh.
there's a different one. But I've only played it like once or twice. But again, I just can't believe they're coming out with 5 to 6 brand new pinball machines a year. Like that hobby. I mean, you think we're arcade fans and game. That's how you know Garage Gamer, right? And there's not new arcades coming out that's like home consumable except for Dave and Buster's. But there's so many new machines that are coming out, and it's stupid expensive. That hobby is dumb from anybody that participates, including myself, because it's not.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to be within an hour's drive of Next Level for sure. So we can we can go out there and pay $20.
Yeah.
Well, and that a good segue into one of our main topics tonight is the John Wick pinball. B, you got the opportunity to be one of the first in the world to play the new John Wick pinball. And I know you put out some videos on it, but if you want to just talk about your experience with Stern, it's a little more here. I know you've talked about it probably on your other channels, But we are really excited about this, and I know there's been some controversy and stuff. We can go into that too if you want, but
Whatever you guys want to talk about. But yeah, and in short, like what Saiyan Spirits was saying was that there was some not a welcoming feeling from having somebody outside the pinball community be one of the first to play it. But so
ridiculous.
Stern
Yeah.
Marketing is working with a third-party company called 47. They're based in LA and also have an office in New York and have been helping them with marketing. And so since I happen to live in the market and I make content, I was invited to go play. So I mean, that's simple as that, right? And so if there's other Los Angeles folks, and I didn't know who they had asked to go, right? I had an hour appointment and said, come 12 o'clock on the 30th, and then you have an embargo for 7 days to make content and then release it on this day. So I was expecting on Tuesday, 9 a.m. when they announced John Wick, the official videos would come up. And then I thought there would be a flood of other content creators that made videos about John Wick too, because it's not my business to ask who else was able to go. But then lo and behold, it's like me, Vic VP, who I actually introduced to them because they needed somebody in the Stern office in New York. Somebody had canceled, like a bunch of people canceled their New York appointment. So I was like, all right, let me introduce you to somebody that I know. And then there's like a couple other content creators. Shaq News, I saw made some content, but hadn't really posted anything. And this company called Easy Allies, another media gaming company. So not very many exciting football enthusiasts not to cover it, but from a gameplay standpoint, I made that video as a like first impressions video, and it was my experience to bring people in to looking at the pinball machine for the first time. I don't claim to be like a 100% pinball expert. I don't think people are expecting top down shots of the layout and the gameplay, but I got to interview one of the leadership at Stern to get his take and explain the pinball machine. So I thought it was a fun way to introduce the table to folks. But there was a good handful, I would say a small handful, that was very vocal about feeling left out. And I feel like, well, Garage Gamer knows from the Arcade 1UP community, we've had similar feelings when there was home arcade products that were sent to larger content creators that we didn't feel knew the product well and didn't represent it. And I totally agree that, like, yes, maybe they probably should have included somebody else in addition to kind of what I was offered, but don't shit on me because you're so jealous. Point.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger. And I mean, like, if my content was crap and shitty, then say that. But like, I don't think it was that. I don't think they can.
Sure.
I had an hour to interview, play the game, give an opinion, and like show something, right? And so anybody who says shit about it, I'm sorry for cussing on the show.
No, go ahead.
It's like, if you had an opportunity, like, what would you have done? Like, would you have done it better? Is kind of like what I want to say. But then I'm always at the mindset of like, I try not to engage in any of the trolling comments and behaviors. Sure. But I had a blast. All that to say, it's been a crazy week to follow the pinball community. But thanks for the invite and allowing me to talk to you guys about it.
Congratulations, and we're just living through you.
I hope you guys get to play it soon. This weekend, I'm sure Next Level will have it, and you guys will have launch parties, and then I'll be jealous you get to play with the other 500 machines there. So you guys still have a leg up on me.
And I'm going to have to check with my wife, see if I can go up there. So I had only seen the first movie, so I've watched John Wick 1, 2, 3, and I still need to watch episode 4 or the fourth movie. Very violent. I thought the third one that I've seen is the best one so far. Lots of guns, but there are no guns on the table. So what do you think if you guys hadn't heard that? There's no... It looks like there's no guns on the playfield. There might be guns on the video when you get into a mission or whatever. So do you think that... What are your impressions of that, B?
I mean, I could talk all day, but I want to hear from you guys. Are you guys even interested in following that space?
Well, you said you got to talk to one of the higher ups there at Stern Pinball. Did you ask him questions like what makes them decide on what movie properties and things that they choose to make these pinballs off of? Is it based on popularity of the movie currently?
In terms of like I didn't ask them that question, but it starts with the creative team and then it starts with the licensing team, right? Because licenses are are all about what they can do. And there's a guy on the Stern team named Jody, and I met him at Comic-Con last year. He's a really big character, and people in the licensing industry, they have to be very like, big personality so you can make that handshake deal and get that license. So Jody has been able to get licenses for the company to make stuff. In terms of like what they choose, there was actually a really good interview with this Flipping Out Pinball is a channel that's hosted by Joel Engelberth, and he did an interview with George Gomez. George Gomez is he's the president of director of creative market. Like he's like the second highest person in Stern, I think, behind Seth Davis. And so he got to share. There have been times where they had a pinball license, and as they're working with the licensor, they eventually didn't make the actual game because there was too many restrictions from what the licensor was saying. And he said there was going to be a Hunger Games pinball machine that never got made because there was too many restrictions on it. So it was just kind of interesting in terms of how they get made. It's a combination of what, once they approach that licensor agreement, what they expect, and then what Stern can make and kind of come to the table. So that's actually what happened with the guns. It was a licensor decision not to have any of the guns on the artwork per their description, which is just odd because John Wick is a very violent guns a-blazing thing that it's interesting how they made that decision, which nobody
Now did you get to play the limited edition and the regular edition?
Just the premium one, the middle one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it still had all the mechanical features of the playfield that does the cool things. It just didn't have the expression lights.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I want them to make a property, and I've got the movie poster behind me.
Dude?
Don't you think? And B, you can chime in or whatever. I don't know if you've seen Dune Part 2, but I think that would make an amazing pinball game from
Only if
Stern.
Zendaya is in her like random like outfit with like metal parts.
Right.
Bride of Pinbot style.
But so out though, you have the sandworm right in the middle, just kind of like the Stranger Things, the demagogue or whatever that thing is in the middle.
Demogorgon.
You shoot the ball into that. You could do a whole bunch of the stuff with Dune. I think it would make a perfect pinball game. So if you guys are watching, that's the game I would be seriously interested in getting if you ever did a Dune pinball. But I know there's other properties out there too.
Not gonna lie, I've never seen Dune, but it sounds like it could be a good one. Rumor on the street is Stern's next pinball machine is probably going to be Pokemon. So,
right, we have heard about rumors of a Pokemon one. Saying Spirits, yeah, you can play it with your popcorn bucket. Yeah, okay. I didn't get that popcorn bucket. Dathan, did you get that pop?
I did not. No.
Either.
That was AMC. You had to go to get that popcorn bucket.
Right. So, but yeah, it is so amazing how it feels like a few years ago, no one was making pinball games, new ones. And now we're finally, we're just getting new ones every couple of months now. It seems like, we just got Jaws.
Jaws came out in January. And so 5 months later, they're already releasing John Wick. And I think they have plans for another Cornerstone release later this year. They have some remakes of older titles. And not only just Stern, but every pinball company there's new pinball companies coming out. So it's an interesting time to be in the space because there's a lot of stuff happening. There's still complaints about how stupid expensive they are. They're just getting like really pricing out people from being able to play them at home. But I will say this, places like Next Level, places like barcades, it is really the only current social thing that brings people together regularly to come play. Like you don't see arcade leagues to go play Pac-Man and be competitive, right?
Sure.
But you'll see pinball leagues all the time, all day, every day across the entire country. So it's like a very social way for people to be engaged, but it's still very niche. So it's
do you think that's what's driving the production of these things?
Well, I think it's a combination of people being like getting more into the hobby because they can play them on locations, but I think the majority of their business is from home sales. And that's crazy, right? Like we didn't
take so much space to get one.
Yeah,
and they're expensive.
Yeah, it's like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. Sometimes 10 to 13 if you're gonna get LEs. So it's I don't know when we grew up with the arcade pinball nostalgia, we became adults with miscellaneous income, and then now they're selling to a generation of people that I think their home buyer market is a good percentage. I don't know how many are operators and locations versus home sales, but I would say a good chunk of their business is home sales.
Well, all last week I was looking at machines for sale because they have them at Next Level. And then I went down the rabbit hole of what if I did a virtual pinball machine, right? And so then I started pricing those out and looking at people who make those as hobby and then resell them, right? So there's one in Florida and one in somewhere in Ohio. And I kind of looked at that and I was like, that's tempting. Like one machine that is basically just like the pinball effects things just on a slanted big screen, widescreen TV that you just play that way, has the accelerometers in it and all of that stuff and the solenoid, so you get the feel. But you've got, all of the VPX tables at your fingertips at that point. So you've got, 1,000 some odd tables that have been put out that way, all in just one cabinet at that point, right? So that makes more sense here.
Sure.
As opposed to trying to collect even 2 or 3 pinball machines, which is really what I would want. So, but yeah, that to your point about people buying them now, that was even something I spent an entire week kind of looking at, starting on Craigslist and going from there. Yeah.
Have you played a virtual pinball cabinet yet?
I have not, and that's why I'm having a hard time getting really close to pulling the trigger, because
he's
going to
be like your drug dealer, because he's going to get you enticed.
Well, that's the gateway to like owning a real pin, honestly. Because once you start feeling it, like, yes, it scratches an itch for sure. It's better than playing like Pinball FX on a PC. Like it gets,
which is what I do.
And I did that for a long time. I was playing, I was introduced to real pinball tables that were virtual. I fell in love with Red and Ted's Roadshow and Attack from Mars and was able to play them like endlessly. And then when I found the real one, I was like, I know the rule set. This is awesome. So it's a great training ground. And there is some ways to make the physical portion feel more haptic with solenoids and flippers, and you can add a shaker motor for virtual pinball. Definitely worth it.
That's what I was looking at, was just that whole, like, how do you get one that's kitted out the right way, right? And once you do, then you're looking at about
like a really big one if you need it to.
Even more, it seemed. Yeah, even more, right? But still, that's competitive with the price of a new Jurassic Park, right?
You won't have any new games for a long time in that virtual format, though. Stern is very peculiar about not allowing, or the latest, I'd say, modern pinball machine that's like in VPin format, that's like it's called the Forbidden Table, because you're not allowed to actually have it, is Ghostbusters. So there's a Stern Ghostbusters game. It's not technically allowed to be out there, like on builds and things. So you're not even supposed to like share it, because someone took the code and then made a virtual pinball version of it. But yeah, so as long as you're okay with playing like the more classic games, you won't find any of the modern tables post Ghostbusters in
right. That's interesting. Okay, so they're not completely opposed to it as long as it's older, right? Then they kind of leave it alone.
Yeah, the licenses, I mean, it really depends, right? Because the VPN community, I mean, they were growing at one point because the pinball, they probably couldn't afford the real pinball, but they're talented as hell, right? I mean, they're coding languages and custom things, and they're making them. So yeah, that community, they could do anything if they really wanted to.
I'll have to pick your brain later about it then to see what you recommend on that whole thing, because
there's an Act Games product that's pretty decent, but that would be the one if you're like casually into it. That would be what I would recommend.
Yeah, you might, Travis, check out the Act Games website. They have a new 4K
I did. I've been there, but the feedback this week on that is that the flipper lag is way too present, right?
Lag, apparently, yeah.
And then once you get that, if you want to use the OTG as they call it and hook a PC up, so now you got the VPX tables. Well, now you've got a PC that you've built to do that as well. So now you're at the Act Games 4K 2000 price point plus another 1,000.
For a PC.
You're almost to where you could go get a premium built by some guy out in Ohio or in Florida, right, with all of the bells and whistles. And so that's where I was like, But then that led into, well, why don't I just go buy Attack from Mars? Right? Like
Well,
the
then-
real one.
Then you might,
But-
just buy.
But
a
then I
real
should
one,
talk to
exactly.
Dathan about that because Dathan had the machine. I asked you about that when we were at Next Level. You had a machine in your place, right?
Yeah, I had two machines.
Yeah.
I had Whirlwind and I had Radical.
Yeah.
'Cause
You have
those-
Radical. That's so fun.
I
love
had two
that game.
machines. Those are the two machines that I grew up with. And then I played them a lot, and then I realized that I'm gonna have to move at some point, and I'm gonna these take up a lot of space, and so
Yeah.
Next Level is the owner of my Whirlwind that's there. 99% sure, not 100%.
Yeah. No,
But
you
you
showed
sold
me the
it and
marks.
It ended up there. You think?
What's that?
So you sold it to somebody else, but then it ended up there.
I think because I sold it in what year is it? I think I sold it in 2014. I think it was.
Yeah.
Next Level hadn't been around yet, but it was so long ago that I think the guy he was working on building his own arcade or whatever.
Mhm.
I forgot who it was. I need to figure out. I need to talk to someone at Next Level. See
And
if
look for
they
that
remember.
scratch that you made when you were a kid, right? So
He did.
Yeah.
the little
But,
signature inside.
Yeah, a lot of it was just they're fun and they're great, but the amount of space and
Maintenance.
they are loud. They
Yeah.
are very loud. They're not loud in an arcade because you're not in an arcade, but when you're at the house, you're at home, it is a lot louder than you would think. So yeah, then I just kind of unloaded because I think I had 2 pinballs and 3 arcade machines, and I kind of unloaded all of them to just to have more space. And so I'm happy with my arcade 1-ups, and I've got right here I've got a MAME machine. It's got 600 games on it. Eric knows this. Sticks of Snakes, the
Sticks of
greatest game
Snakes.
ever. But owning a pinball, it was fun, but it kind of wore off after a few years, so kind of keep that in mind. But these were older machines; these weren't new machines that had updates on them and firmware updates and all that fun stuff and fancy bells and whistles and all that. So
That's where that virtual idea came from for me, where I was like, okay, I could still scratch the itch of having the table and all of the accelerometers and all of that, yet I could flip through 1,000 tables. So if I'm tired of Monster Bash, for example, I could then flip over to Attack from Mars or Addams Family and kind of do that sort of a thing. Because yes, the idea of buying one pin, the question is, okay, well, which one am I going
Star
to?
Trek Next Generation. That's
No.
the one.
Well,
No.
The one
he
to buy.
made
Which
his own Star
yeah.
Trek: The Next Generation.
yeah.
I did.
So
So I went down that rabbit hole pretty deep with
Yeah.
the first At Games V Pin that came out, and there was a 32-inch screen. It had a single screen on the back box, and then I had a custom back box made, and I turned the skin into a Star Trek: The Next Generation themed virtual pinball cabinet. So the
Sweet.
Oh,
first
cool.
game that would pop up in Pinup Popper was Star Trek: The Next Generation on a tracked mode. So it would look like that. So I've been down the path. I would say there's one thing I would caution, because if you do buy a prepackaged build,
hmm
even though it's kind of nicely put together, nothing in the world of emulation is 100% plug and play. Like there will be a time where you'll need to learn how it does get added, and there's like little intricacies to be able to make sure that it works, or to add a game or to not. If it doesn't work, learning how the solenoids work, troubleshooting all those things, like that hobby is super deep. So if you're really interested and you like the building aspect, sometimes building your own allows you to learn it as you go. That way you can troubleshoot it. But the other thing is that it really becomes something that only you can play. Because as anybody who's ever owned a multi-cade, right? And if somebody else tries to play your machine with 1,000 tables, it's like Netflix, right? They're kind of going through how do you navigate things. So if it's for your personal enjoyment and you want to play those tables, that's great. But as I've built out my arcade, when I thought about what's the purpose of my arcade, then it's like not only for me to enjoy, but I want other people to enjoy it too. The simple one game, more people would play that one game that's set up like a real pinball, because it's like simple versus like going through, oh, this has 1,000 tables. Yeah.
But then the barrier to entry is too high, right?
Exactly. The navigation of the UI and all those things.
You spend 20 minutes trying to figure out what game to play. Right?
Sure.
Well, yeah, you get
That's
option
what-
paralysis, right? There's too
Exactly.
many options, and so you just get paralyzed by it. Yeah, and I mean, and then when I sat and thought about it, I'm like, okay, that would be cool, but I do only live 20 minutes away from Next Level.
Real pinball. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
so I
It's true.
can just go.
You have that luxury. do
Right,
it. Pinball map.
right,
When I looked up the Oregon map, I was like, holy crap! Isn't that a real stat that there's more pinball per
Yeah.
capita in the Pacific Northwest than anywhere in the entire country?
There was, but when I was in Chicago, they tried telling me that that's not true anymore. So
Really?
I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they tried saying, but
All
I
right.
don't know. It seems
I
like
don't know
we
where
have a
that
lot.
stat came
Yeah.
from. Like who actually
There
made
was
that?
a article, Dathan, or was it Chris? You told me it's the most. Oregon is the most retro state in the country.
Yeah, I
Whatever
said,
that means.
like retro,
Retro gaming.
retro gaming was the biggest, I think, searched thing in what was it? It was retro gaming is the biggest in the state of Oregon that is compared to anywhere else in the country. That's just because Seattle, the Portland Retro Gaming Expo is the biggest in the country. So that's,
I don't think it's not just video games. I think it's
Retro
toys.
game bar.
I think it's like VHS tapes.
it's pretty much
They're
because
still there.
you know
Like, yeah, you just have
Yeah, we've got the last
you're the most
blockbuster.
nostalgic
and,
state in the country is
Sure.
essentially what you're saying. So
Yeah.
yeah,
you should just change Oregon to nostalgia. And
pretty much ground control still here. And
Yeah.
control.
Yeah.
I went to ground control. Yeah.
what were your thoughts? I
That's dope.
like the old style there where it didn't have the two rooms. It had the red pill room and the blue pill, whatever it's called, the matrix, whatever.
Well, I only went once, so I was there just for a hot minute. Because so when I travel now, I look up Pinball map and I look for like places to go in the evening when I don't have to work. Like because I was there doing an assignment for a little bit. But I was very impressed with the condition of the machine. So I go to some arcades and they're kind of run down, but with ground control, like all the machines were actually really good. For the arcade, I was impressed. There's no next level, but I mean it's definitely
Sure.
Yeah, because it used to be just the one building, and you'd go up the stairs, and then they'd have the bar on the bottom and the pinballs upstairs. And
how's Porter World? I didn't get to go.
Porter World's good.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Yeah.
They're not bad. It used to be an old movie theater.
Yeah.
They're
I
not
went
too
and it
bad.
was closed. I was so mad. We went to the pizza place next door, and that was really good.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, that is so good. Yeah.
That pizza place, I forgot what it's
Yeah,
called, but it was legendary. It was
Pizza
really
Shoals.
But I
Shoals,
think
yeah.
they're building so down in Eugene, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours south of Portland. They have what is it, Level Up Pinball, and there's another one that's building in Cottage Grove, which is about 15 minutes south of Eugene. So there's more and more arcades that are being built still.
Coin Jam in Salem is dope.
Coin Jam in Salem, and there's one in
Yeah.
Newport, I think, that has.
I was gonna say Newport has a
Yeah.
big pinball hall.
I've
Yeah.
been there with Jeremy. That was fun.
Is it Lincoln City or is it Newport? I forgot what it is. Somewhere over there on the coast, they have a pretty big one.
Yeah.
Coin Jam doesn't have any Stern connected pinball for whatever
That
reason.
sucks. I hate that.
And yeah, that's the one thing that's got me hooked is this Stern connected app. But if you have any kind of pull with Stern, I want you to tell them they need to add some more features to the app. I think the friends list kind of thing, it doesn't quite work. And I think you should be able to like challenge your friends more in the app.
Yeah.
And there's some features that are really good, but I almost feel like it needs another from these guys, and they could really
I have zero pull at all. Just was fortunate enough to fall into this opportunity, be thankful, and then be shitted on it for afterwards. But I hearing kind of what they've been saying and what they're doing with the app, they're putting more resources into the app that eventually they're going to have a full-time team using the app, like making updates to the app as it gets more feature rich. So I do see a future state where, the app just got released in the last year, because before that you had to go to the website to log in to get your code. So they really are going to start having, there's this guy named Tanyo that did the code for Foo Fighters. If you guys have played Foo Fighters, it's a really fun table. And so he's one of the best coders, but now he's working on the Insider Connected app features and kind of all its like potential integration. And now Stone just like freaking owns you, because they now own all the data of every time anybody's ever logged into their pinball machines, how long they're playing, what their scores are. There's just massive big data being sucked in that now can really inform them on certain things. So
Did it
Who's
Like
playing
advertise
Roman
what?
was
too?
saying, one of the most surprising things, Venom just was released last July, and it was panned by the pinball community. They think it's like a trash game. It's not that great from a pinball enthusiast standpoint. It's currently the biggest earner on sites
Wow.
at location
Yeah.
because of its casual theme and people love just walking up to play it. So there's a difference between location pinball machines and people that are choosing to play a machine based on what it looks like than the person that's like, I'm a hardcore player that really likes the shots or whatnot. And then the leveling feature and I think that's the theme. So the smart thing is, I bet it's because of the leveling system that's getting more people to play Venom. It's addicting because you're now leveling up. And for the casual person that can never get to the end of a pinball game, my saved progress allowed me to play a boss that I like over and over again without having to start from zero.
That
So
is
it's a genius
nice.
feature.
I just
That's
got to
nice.
level 20 last week.
Yeah.
So how did you were you able to beat that
I
final
did.
null
I
boss or
beat him
whatever his
3
name is?
times. I had to.
Sweet.
So I borrowed the game, and then before I played like so many times just to level up, because each time you beat Null, you unlock one of the characters.
Yeah, so you can Eric, you can unlock Wolverine in this game.
Oh, that's crazy.
Did you know that?
Uh-uh.
It's amazing.
There's a
Like,
Venomized Wolverine apparently that happened at some point.
No, I never came across that.
so they can really add these pinballs are not just the old school pinballs. They're definitely some microchip computer.
Because Jaws also has some leveling system too, where you're collecting bounty points for like hunting sharks. And now John Wick, as an assassin, you're collecting, it's called Wick points, and then you level up your status as an assassin, and
Right.
then they're gonna do some cool stuff. So it's just the potential is there for sure. It's really one of the best things they've done because it allows me to keep my store. But man, the amount of data that they're getting, they're they just own all that information. I just can't believe what they're gonna do with it. It's crazy.
Hopefully they just keep it all free for us too, at least on that app.
I hope
I
that's
don't
true
want them.
too. Yeah,
I don't want them to
so
start
mad when I
charging.
log in.
Yeah,
The people that have like tattooed their story connector onto their arm and they
Oh,
don't
no.
do it, they're like, I'm
Yeah, that's
branded now. Yeah.
well, I didn't even realize when we last went to next level, you can get the Stern app on your Apple Watch,
Oh
and
yeah, you can scan
it,
into it. Yeah.
you just scan into it. It's super easy.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, that's how you unlock the guns.
And for the home, yeah, you unlock it. For the home pin users, if you own it at home, like some people used to have like little like cards laminated that you can scan, but they have a feature called Home Team where you hold down the left flipper and then you can like sign up and log into your account very quickly. So it's a quick way to log in consistently when you're at home, which is really nice. So I own 3 machines. I have one that's currently on loan. But yeah, I definitely play them way more than any of my arcade 1-ups at this point. So, but I love the way my arcade looks. It's still beautiful.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I've still got my arcade 1-up Star Wars
Nice.
pinball. I had the Attack from Mars, but I sold it.
Mhm.
And I'm probably going to sell my arcade 1-up Star Wars. So maybe Travis, if you're interested in a Star Wars, I can make you a deal.
Yeah, I don't know which direction I'm gonna go after talking about all of it. Now I'm
You should
thinking
try it
tomorrow
at least before you would go that day. Like I would
Yeah.
recommend even playing it just to see what you like. I know it's the same thing as the PC versions, but feeling the
Yeah.
solenoids for A1-up actually gives you a little bit of a feel. It's
Okay.
it's 720p, which sucks. But I modded the heck out of my arcade 1-up.
Kong, yeah, he had all 3 tables going on one arcade 1-up. He was able to
You haven't done
mod.
the mod yet? You haven't done the pinner mod?
I did, but I'm not a big modder. I know you're super into that, but I just want it to just work. And I
And
did the firmware updates,
Yeah.
but I've kept it pretty stock.
I get that. Yeah. Sometimes you just want it to be simple. That's the beauty of why arcade 1-up formula worked, right?
Yeah.
It's just because it's simple. You can turn it on and then don't have to muss and fuss like an ad games product.
So do you think that with what we mentioned about Venom being like a level up system, and then you said Jaws kind of has that thing with the I forgot what you said, the Jaws points,
teeth.
and then the John Wick thing. Do you think the future of pinball is going towards a somewhat RPG-ish type thing where you're leveling up your game as you go on? Is that the kind of the direction
I
they're
think
hinting at?
so. I think that it's an enticing way to put more money into the machine, is it not? Right? Like, and you've
I
seen
think
that
so.
with some
Sure.
other kind of, like, there's the Minecraft Legends things where you get cards. There's always some gimmick now that's kind of wanting you to come back and play. But
Mhm.
this is a free app that's very simple, and it lets you progress it. Or at least in the Venom, because I've had the most experience there, it saves your boss progress. I've
Mhm.
never seen that before. Like, every other pinball machine, you always have to start from ball one the entire
Mhm.
game over again, even if you're just about to beat the game. It's so frustrating, right, to be able to get back to that point. But I love the option of being able to continue. So I think for the casual fan, it's allowed casual people to experience that thrill of beating a game. That, if you think about the pinball world community, you have to be able to make it accessible to people. And if you never get somebody to like beat a game that you guys all played, like retro games, like, and how often have you ever beaten a game and remember it? And when you do, like, you remember the time I've beaten this game and that game, and those
Mhm.
are my glory like moments. And not a lot of people have that. And now I think it gives people more of a sense of opportunity to do so. So I feel like they're going to be making it as accessible as they can, while for the hardcore fans, still making it difficult to achieve certain things.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see. I think it's a great idea. I would also like to see it implemented in some of the older games that are able to do firmware. A
Yeah.
good example is Lord of the Rings. That is a fantastic machine, and I
Mhm.
can't tell you how many goddamn times that I got to the very end and I shot that ball to destroy the ring, and it goes halfway up and it goes right down the middle on the last ball,
You're like,
and game over. So yeah, so
table flip. Yeah,
yeah,
that
so
sucks.
I think it's a fantastic idea, and for more playability, people coming back, and yeah, I think it's a fantastic.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen retroactively for stuff, unfortunately. Like, right, even adding the Stern Connected to keep your high scores for those
Hmm.
tables. Right now, the only games that work with the Insider Connected is the Spike 2 platform. And I forget
Okay.
what game was the one that first started there. But anything that, like, Gomez was saying earlier today, because I watched that interview, he said a lot of good stuff in that interview, but he's like, Lord of the Rings or something other game that I think is like two generations of hardware already before. But yeah, I would love to have been able to play any of those older titles and keep progress for that final boss mission.
Do you
It's
think
so frustrating.
Stern would be interested in purchasing the tables from like Williams and stuff and recreating the original machine maybe,
Maybe
and
not
then
Stern, but
doing
there's people doing remakes for sure.
Yeah,
They just
there's
announced
some that are
Funhouse
doing
today.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
They redid Cactus Canyon, didn't they? Cactus
That's by
Canyon and
Chicago Gaming Company.
Yeah.
So they were doing,
Medieval Madness.
they did I call them the holy trinity of the Williams tables, right? So it's Medieval Madness, Attack from Mars, Cactus Canyon. Like, those are probably one of the three best Williams games, and they remade all three of them. And now there's Pedretti Pinball is making remakes of classic 90s pins. So they just released Funhouse today, is like announced.
Mm.
And they probably will start doing more of them, like Whitewater and some other games and things too, that they have the licenses to redo all those.
Who owns Williams? Do you know? Because Williams is a dead company, isn't it?
And so I think they're just licensing it out to those companies to remake them, like Chicago Gaming Company
Yeah.
and or Pedretti, right? So they could, but I don't see Stern getting into the business of remaking those. It would be one of those other pinball companies that takes it
Gotcha.
on. Yeah.
Do you
Anyway.
see another company doing some sort of connected app?
I hope so. I mean, I hope those companies are seeing what Stern is doing. Like JJP would be a great one to kind of like Jersey Jack Pinball as probably, I would say, their next most consistent competitor to do something like that. Because the Jersey Jack Pinball machines, one, are stupid expensive. They're more expensive than Stern's. They're gorgeous light shows with a giant back glass screen. But if they, I would love for them to see that. I think it's simple, even if it's as simple as logging in and keeping your scores, right? I mean, it's just, you got to start somewhere, but it was genius to do. And it all started with Godzilla. I mean, it's only 3 years old, like, since that Insider Connected started. And then now, like, we're spoiled because I get so pissed when it's not actually working on location somewhere.
Right.
If they're we said it's like an RPG now. Like, playing pinball can be have RPG elements.
Yeah.
It would be kind of cool to see them lean into that really heavy and do like a Final Fantasy table.
Oh yeah, Yeah. Like a true like gaming theme.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm curious well, Pokemon is a game. Would you consider that an
Mhm.
RPG game?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I've never played it, so
Yeah.
that was the generation after me.
Yeah. It's good stuff. I'm jealous
So
of you.
it looks like Williams was bought out by Bailey Technologies and then merged with Scientific Games. And in 2022, they renamed them to Light and Wonder, and all they make is lottery machines.
Yeah, those licenses, it's interesting like where they go right after companies die and what they can
Yep.
do with them.
So it certainly is interesting to see some of these old companies from the 80s. You know, you look at their history, they've been around for decades, and then you know, they were stuck in one specific area. They didn't branch out. All their eggs were in one basket, and then that basket kind of broke.
Well,
Yeah,
it died, but it's coming back. So it's great for all of us, and we're really excited. And I thank you, B, for being an ambassador now, and we're just gonna live through you, and we're
Oh,
also
you guys
gonna
experience it
we're
soon. I'm looking forward to all of your content on John Wick in the next week when we do the next level pinball. So
great,
let's do it. Man, camera.
awesome.
Talk about it.
Uh, it's also been a wild week in other video game news, so I wanted to get to some of that. I know I'm trying to limit this to an hour show, but maybe we'll get about more of it next week. But some really crazy stuff with Xbox this week, and Kongs or Us. If you want to, I don't know how much you're in tune to with some of this stuff,
I want to
but
be a guest, man. Like I'll hang out with you guys. Like I want to shoot some shit.
I want one question. What are the figures behind you? Like,
Oh,
what
me
do
in my
you
background that's
in your
blurred.
case? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
So
that? Is that
I
Gundam?
originally wanted to be a toy channel, but I'm
yeah.
a huge Macross fan. Like if
I
you
was going to
heard
ask.
Oh,
I see
okay,
the
okay.
so Robotech
compared
in the 80s.
DF1. Yeah, I think see
Yeah,
it right
and
there.
so that's these are all kind of very expensive imported Japanese Transformer type toys. And
Those
then
the
this
Bandai ones, or which ones are they?
what's that?
Are they Bandai or which ones?
Oh yeah, so it's a combination. Yamato was my. Are you familiar with Macross? And the
Yeah,
toys?
yeah.
Yeah,
I've got a. Hang on, right.
You're gonna trigger these guys.
Yeah, we're gonna talk toys now, Garage Gamer. Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, there it
Show and
is.
tell.
Dathan is a huge Transformers nut,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this is.
and looks like Eric's got. Yeah,
I've got
he's
the-
got
Oh, you got the masterpiece.
masterpiece Ben
pinned on
Dixon,
me.
yeah.
Look at that. You got a
Oh,
Ben Dixon.
fancy.
There it is. Yeah. You kept it in the bookcase. I
did.
had that whole set. You know, and remember the box is probably the best thing about that toy because if you actually played with it, it's a pretty shitty toy. But
The build quality is not great. The light doesn't even light up anymore. It's like, come on, man.
But that's funny. Like, yeah, I remember Robotech. I collected the mask. I have them. I have that whole set, all 6 of them, in the bottom right hand corner in my display case because nobody ever looks there. But at least it's completing the store case.
Right.
So these are the Bandai Yamato. The best version they ever made of that toy is the Bandai DX series. It's like $200, $300.
Mm-hmm.
Best toy ever. If you guys remember from the 80s, Transformers had a Jetfire toy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
Jetfire.
Mm-hmm.
That was based off of the Macross Robotech plane.
Right.
And so I have this crazy, I'll just kind of like briefly show this way. This is my Transformers collection.
Okay.
Hold on, let me turn on my light so you guys can see it this way. So that's my
nice.
Transformers
There you go,
collection
full
that
screen.
way.
Wow.
Let's see. Let's see. Hold on. Come on. There we go.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
But that's so I was really obsessed with Transformers, and so that's my Optimus Prime collection. Oh, my hand can't be there.
Yeah.
I have Optimus Primes on the top shelf,
Mm-hmm.
and then I collect. There's this line of called alternators, vinyl techs. They were Transformers into real cars back in the day.
I got a few of
but
those
everything
too.
here is like those are the big Macross toys back there.
Cool.
So
Love it. That's awesome.
expensive, fun hobby back in the day. But yeah, helmets, fun stuff.
That's all just Macross stuff, right? It's
Yeah,
not
this
like
whole
Inbit
this
Invasion
place
or
is all
anything else.
Macross, and then they have Transformers here.
Uh-huh.
Was that the HasLab Unicron?
Yeah, that's the HasLab
Oh,
Unicron, and then the
nice.
Proton Pack, and
Nice.
getting some big HasLabs there. Like I
Oh.
have the Robosand Prime is right there. The auto like
Oh, I got that.
I'm a mess. I have crap all over my place. So could you tell I'm a hoarder? I like.
Are you gonna get the Megatron?
People have been asking it, but see, this is why pinball is a stupid hobby. You're spending too much money on pinball. I can't afford the mega. I literally spent.
He looks so cool though.
It
Yes.
does. I spent like almost $2,500 on pinball topper and expression lights, and for my Foo Fighters pinball machine.
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 for a freaking topper for a
Yeah.
robot that just turns its head and like talks at you. It's dumb. I don't recommend getting into this hobby at all. I could have gotten 2 Megatrons.
Yeah, you know how many Megatrons that is?
I know. Like, I'm so mad that at some point, yeah, the Megatron is so cool. But I'm a little bit torn on the fence of it. But it's such a, for the times that I've actually turned on my Prime and have enjoyed it, I'm like, it's more of a party toy than it is like something I can display and enjoy.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of scared to turn mine on. A couple days after I had it, I turned it on, and my wife came downstairs, and she said something, and I don't know what it was. And like 30 seconds later, he just went and did his own thing. He transformed and rolled away. And that was
That's gonna wake up and be Chucky. And
yeah, I don't know what was going on with that. Like, we're gonna put him back in the foam for.
So you have one, the original Robosand Prime?
I do. Yeah, I got it signed by Peter Cullen a few.
Nice.
At a fan expo here in town.
I really want the base, but it's also $250, which is way stupid.
You know, I saw the base in person, and there's something about it. I don't like how it's kind of like it's the pole that sticks to his back a little bit. I'm always worried that the weight of Optimus is going to pull down on it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm always concerned about
to
that.
it. Well, that's the only reason,
cool.
because it can't stand on its own. It's like a limp child. Like you have to have a stand if you want to do. Otherwise, you have to display anything. Sorry, we started talking toys, but
That's my fault. This is my fault. Okay. Yeah. We're
back to you, Ryan.
I just want to get the more of these ones.
Voltron. Yeah. Did you see?
I've only been able to find the black, the center one.
Oh,
and it's a Target exclusive.
So that's the arcade one-up version of Voltron. What you really need is the real version. It's called Bandai DX or Soul of Chogokin.
Yeah,
very expensive.
It's super expensive. Oh wait, no, there's what was it? Blitzway Voltron. Have you guys heard of that one? It was a $700 Voltron. It's the best Voltron toy ever made. Blitzway. It's about 15 inches tall. Comes with an amazing stand. Because stands are really cool. I'm so sorry we're talking about toys now. You got me talking.
No, that's all good.
Stands are always meant for like the robots and like their combined modes. It's the first time the Blitzway Voltron, if you look it up, has this amazing stand for the lion mode for all the lions, and you can put it like it is just like gorgeously displayed. It's stupid expensive as well. It's like $700, but I bought it and I think it's worth it.
I have the Lego Voltron, and I haven't built it yet.
Fun too. Yeah,
That's cool.
And one of these days, you
haven't built it?
No, I haven't. I have a huge Lego collection of boxed Lego that I haven't even built yet, and my kids are getting to the age. My kid really wants me to build I have the Ghostbusters firehouse.
Oh,
that's now worth over $1,000. Like, do I want to open it or do I want to? We'll see. Do I want to resell it?
How have you introduced your kids to your hobbies? Like, are they into your stuff at all? Because mine isn't. Mine isn't into my stuff.
My son is really into Roblox right now. That's his main video game. But I have gotten him to play other stuff. Like we played Final Fight. We beat that game last month, and he is a little bit into pinball. He really loves Ghostbusters, so he plays that Ghostbusters pinball when we see it, and a few things. But we don't really. My kids don't really hang out in the garage here too much, but they're open to stuff. My son wanted to watch Back to the Future yesterday, so.
Nice.
Hey, that's a win, man. That's a win in my book.
Yeah,
agreed.
So
the minute my son wants to watch that, I will shed a tear.
Yeah. So, but great show. We didn't talk about the stuff I wanted to talk about, maybe, but uh, amazing. Thank you, B, for coming on tonight. We really appreciate it. The pinball stuff, you can see that there is a itch that a lot of us want to scratch, and hearing information from you really is starting to open some of our eyes, and we're going to continue to feed that hobby and that itch. So we really appreciate you, sir, and thanks for coming on. I next time you do come to Oregon, I really do want to hang out. I know you've been here a couple times.
I did a quick interim 3-month assignment where I got to go up pretty frequently. And so I was promised to be able to come back when it wasn't just like spitting random bits of droplets on me consistently.
Yeah.
So, and then I did bring an umbrella, and they said that's how you know you're not from
You're
Oregon.
not from
if you
here,
bring an
yeah.
umbrella.
Right. Yeah. No, Oregonians, we don't wear umbrellas.
But why? I mean, it's really like it was literally
We just
raining really bad, and they're like, no, they wouldn't do it. I was like, this is stupid.
It's like, no,
Well,
we also
no
jump
umbrellas, no coats. You go out in
You wear
shorts,
coats.
and I know
we don't have pools. Like everyone in California has a pool. Here we
Yeah.
just go to lakes and stuff, and
Yeah.
we're good with like stepping on glass and bottles, broken bottles.
All
That's
the
the
things.
Oregonian way. We also everyone here is like drank over 1,000 craft beers by the
Yeah.
time we're 18. So we're all craft beer.
I love it. Yeah, my
experts
first experience, my first trip was to Bend, so I was in that area for a little while.
Bend is amazing.
Yeah, and so that was super beautiful, super scenic. And then I was in Portland. I was like, oh, very different scene. It's funny though, by the way, like that area has pretty much the same freeways that we do in Los Angeles. You have the 10 freeway, there's a 5, there's a 405. I was like, what the heck? It's like I thought it ended and like regained it. So that was fun to be like, oh, I'm taking the 5 to the 10, 510.
Yeah, I lived in Pasadena for a year, and I remember like, oh yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, it's all the same. I was like, what the heck? But I remember my boss, my interim boss that I was there was like, she described the Oregon weather like there was a comedian that said it feels like God's just on the roof of a building, just going. And I was like, that kind of feels what this looks like. It's just constant like.
I remember, when they say that the Inuit people have like 50 words for snow, and I'm like, how's that even possible? And then I walk around and I was like, oh yeah, it's drizzling today. No, it's actually kind of misting today, and tomorrow it's supposed to rain, but then we'll get showers. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. I understand why you can have 50 words for snow.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, it was a pleasure meeting everybody. Hope to come on another time. Yeah.
Thanks, B.
Be sure, if you're out there, hit that like button and consider subscribing. Check out B Kong's YouTube channel. Definitely, he's got some great content. Check out his videos on John Wick pinball. And
it's officially gone woke because of the gun thingy, is what they do.
I hearing the guys in the movies, they say his name is John Wick.
Baba Yaga is his real name. You got to say it right, or the boogeyman will come get you.
The boogeyman.
The boogeyman is going to get you all if you do not bow down to the Baba Yaga, and he's going to kick your ass with a pencil. So
good. Is there a pencil in that pinball game? I didn't see one.
I don't think so.
Did they have added the pencil?
Last little comment though. The gun crate, there's a little crate for his weapons open up. There's a picture of what the weapons are. There's actually a replaceable insert that actually has guns on that artwork that it's just you can replace almost immediately before you play the game. So they about that, but they just didn't mention it. So they probably could have, like, if they showed a picture of that as an option, probably would have avoided like 2 days of marketing community
drama
in that community. But some people are just up in arms. Fun times.
Do you guys have any final thoughts before we leave?
Do each of you guys have YouTube channels? Do I need to follow all of you?
Asa Jax has a YouTube channel.
All right.
Asa Jax Media Grounds. He covers some you do some gameplay footage on Steam and Xbox, I think.
Yep. And
he's really good at the movie reviews.
He also cosplays as Jack the Ripper as Mr. Peanut at the same
Right.
time.
Amazing. I love it. Gotta have your
Next
niche.
week I will be a plague doctor. We'll keep this going time to time.
Travis, Eric, Dathan, do you have any final thoughts?
If no one got a chance, they should go watch Sam's. She did the guest we had last week. She did a game room tour video.
Oh, right.
And that was fantastic. She did a really good job with that, and
Really
her
cool.
collection is epic. It is great.
She does have a really epic, and she's gonna move. And Kong, I don't know if you're familiar with Samantha Azira. She was on our channel last week. She is moving to Florida. She moved to Florida last year, and now she's going to move back all the way to Oregon. She's going to move that entire collection back to Oregon. Unbelievable.
I would dread having to move all my shit to another place.
Across the country.
But she has got so much stuff.
She's it's an amazing collection. She's got
It
like
is fantastic.
every 64 that's ever been built, like the clear colored ones, like all of them. She's got an insane.
I'm hoping
to
document some of it. Yeah. So I really want to go through that journey with her, because it's got to be something else what she's got to go through to get that collection from Florida all the way across the country. So yeah, definitely, if you guys are out there, check out her channel. Absolutely.
That's good. We'll do.
She's awesome. And hopefully when she gets back to Oregon, we're going to ask her to come on more often, because right now I think it's probably 1 a.m. there, and I don't want to mess up her sleep too much, but we will be asking her to come back. And hopefully, B, maybe you'll like to come back on too when there's more Stern and pinball stuff we can talk to you about and pick your brain.
Yeah, apparently I'm happy to talk about toys and anything else that's fun.
Yeah, these guys love toys.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's all good. It was funny when I was there in Oregon. It was the first time where, like, when I was just talking casually to people, they would mention their like retro gaming hobbies and obsessions and things. I was like, oh, I think I kind of found my people. Like, let's talk gaming. They like have board game nights and like all these other things. And like
these guys have board game nights.
Do you? Fun. Yeah. So part of me wishes I was an Oregonian too, to participate in these said board game night communities. There's not much out in LA, that at least in my circle of friends, right? Because I think it's more commonplace. But kudos to you guys. You have a jealous Los Angeles. We'll come visit sometime.
Anyway, thank you guys. Make sure to like, consider subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one. Next week, we'll go into more of the Microsoft craziness going on and the Nintendo Switch rumors out there. I know I put that in probably the title of this video, but we'll get into it next week, unless there's something else that really comes out of nowhere. But this has been a great show. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.